There you go. And that's Ben. Ben works with Tom, and you're going to meet Tom right now. So Tom, as he mentioned, has been working with us for a very long time. 2016.
Yeah,
Oh, yes, I do.
thanks.
You're welcome.
I want to do until
So
blind.
Tom and I have been working together for a while. What we've learned over the years that we've been working together, it's helpful for him and I that we use a script. Okay?
Yeah.
And the whole idea is getting you to know Tom, not only as an adult with autism, but as an adult with chronic health conditions, who has been in and out of healthcare hospitals. He's got a story to tell. So I really want you to, hear our interview and be prepared to ask him questions. When are you going to have a chance to sit here and ask an adult
Yeah.
with autism who has a chronic health condition to tell you anything you would like to know? And he's very open.
Yeah. You're making me sound a lot more interesting than I really am. But
It is quite interesting. So Tom, let's just go with the interview. And as I said, we'll open it up. for
Yeah.
questions, okay, so think about what you want to know. And they can be anything. They don't
Yeah.
have to really, they can be whatever.
yeah, I'm open to
Okay.
anything.
So we've just informed the audience that you are a self-advocate and that you have autism. Can you please describe your healthcare issues and how long you've been dealing with them?
Absolutely. And I just, FYI, this is off script. I love talking about my health issues, not only because this is the best job I've ever had, but it's also kind of like free therapy to me. Yeah, I mean, like when something happens, the best thing to do for me is just talk about it openly, so here we are. Yeah, as medical professionals, you'll think I'm a very fascinating individual. Aside from my autism, as Trish just informed you, I have legit or real health issues. For one, my heart is irregular and doesn't really function properly. I have what's known as TAPVR, total anomalous pulmonary venous return, which nobody should know about when they're 5 years old, but here we are. It means I was born with a vein connecting to the wrong part of my heart, in addition to having a hole in my heart. So I have a iffy sense of humor, but because of that, I'm a holy man. I've been in and out of hospitals for various reasons my entire life. I'm 32 and I'm no stranger whatsoever to hospital settings. I had full-on open heart surgery at the age of 4 months. So for me, that whole YOLO thing that has kind of been going around, anyone who came up with that is a liar. I'm 11 number 2 and counting. Charlie Sheen has tiger blood, or so he claims, but I have the real cat DNA.
9 lives, right, Tom?
Yep, but who's counting?
Who's counting?
11 number
Okay.
2 and counting.
All right, so Tom, due to your cardiac issues, you had a pacemaker installed in 2015, right?
I did.
So just after, 2 days after your surgery, you were rushed to the hospital for an unrelated medical emergency. Can you describe what happened?
Yeah, and again, this is therapeutic to me because it's like either I pay somebody to talk about this or they pay me to talk about it, but what happened was I had a pacemaker installed 2 days prior and I was resting up from from the pacemaker procedure on whatever they gave me at home, and I was planning on going to the movies with my sister Abby, who is a travel nurse in Northern California at this point. Kudos, I could never do that, but I gotta test my sister if she's almost ready to leave. We're seeing Jurassic World opening day. Joe's my age, the original Jurassic World, and I got up a little too quickly, and this has got to be like a universally felt feeling when you get too quickly, get that dizzy, lightheaded, oh my god, I'm gonna fall feeling. Well, combine that with being in your own little world on pain meds, and doesn't make for a good combination. That's exactly what happened to me. Got too quickly, and I wasn't with it enough to think, oh God, I'm dizzy. Maybe I should sit down for a minute. Just blacked out completely. Collapsed, broke my arm, and I don't remember falling and breaking my arm. It was on hardwood floor, by the way. But like I said, I blacked out. I don't remember falling and breaking my arm. We used to call this a medical tragedy, but I'm still alive. If this is a tragedy, I'm the lucky one.
So,
Yeah, I remember waking up on a hardwood floor in my own bed, like worse than what I'm showing you now. Looking at my arm going, oh, that's not good, is it?
so you
All
wound up
shocked.
back at the hospital for surgery on your arm, isn't that right?
Yeah, and after x-raying my arm, the doctor told me I have broken my, well, duh, genius, and shattered my funny bone. And when I fell, it was far from humorous. It hurt like hell, but it hurt like hell. But even though I broke my funny bone, as you can probably tell, somehow incredibly, thank whatever's up above, my sense of humor remained intact. And I would love, next training we do, maybe I'll do this, bring in the photo of my x-ray. I would love to be able to show that off, but since we don't have that, all I can show you as proof is this wicked, awesome looking scar on my arm. But the good news is, I come out of surgery and the doctor's like, we have good news. Like, what possibly be good? We saved your tattoo. Silver lining.
So, okay, Tom, so tell us just a little bit more about your surgery. As I understand it, your experience with anesthesia is different than most people, which is common in autism, by the way.
Yeah, very. And actually, I shouldn't say very, but I've had this experience. My girlfriend has had this experience, and but she has medical issues as well. I don't know if it's nerves, anxiety, or the fact that I have autism, or a combination of all three. But this was pre-COVID, so when visitors were allowed, I think you're allowed to do that kind of thing. But I went in for surgery, and I'm sure you all know how it works. Put the mask over my face, not this one, the oxygen mask, and the usual spiel. Count backwards from 10 to 0. You'll be asleep by 1. I'm still awake. Made it to 0 the first time. I was on cloud 9, didn't care what was going on, but still conscious. I'm actually really proud of that little accomplishment of beating the system. I wake up, the doctor's like, I don't know, I'm just that good. As long as it doesn't happen again, I'm okay.
Right. Okay, so my last question is, since you had your share of healthcare interactions, can you tell the audience one thing that you would want them to remember when they are interacting with someone with autism?
We've scripted this, and this is the hardest question I've answered, on the sheet, because that's one thing that I want you to remember is pretty much darn near impossible to do, because your experience may vary. It's a person-to-person basis. We've been talking, me and Trish have been talking for a few minutes, and Eric he's a smart guy, but you just can barely get 2 words out, but he's the smartest guy I know. So don't judge a book by its cover. Don't take what I'm saying and be like, apply it as like an umbrella statement. And you're like, oh, well, Tom Whalen said, no, don't do that. For the love of God, I'm begging you. But if you're talking about me, I would say treat me as an everyday, off-the-street person who, just happens to have autism. But speak to me as though you would anybody else. Like I said, I'm 32. If I'm not deaf by the time I'm 40, thanks to people yelling at me, including, they think because I don't say a lot in front of them, I can't hear them. So if I'm not deaf by the time I'm 40, can you hear me? Yeah, God himself can hear you. I have autism, sure, but I have intelligence and fully functional mostly fully functional eardrums. I hear you. So don't belittle me in that regard, and it drives me insane when people not only talk louder, but they look at my chart for the first time. Like, doctors who have never met me, look at my chart. Oh, he has autism, so we should talk slower. Like, I'm talking at a normal pace. You think I'm an idiot? Yeah, I can hear you. But that's just my 2 cents. Again, if you can't communicate with somebody adequately, like verbally, if you can't verbalize with somebody like Eric or whoever else the person may be, use your best judgment. And that's all I have to say about that.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I would open the floor. Does anyone here have any questions, comments, concerns, constructive criticisms, anything?
You can put it into chat if you're
Yeah.
interested in. Yes.
I was gonna ask, what are some ways that other providers have tried to figure out ways to communicate with you the best? Like, is there anything that you found that's been like particularly more beneficial for you both to understand like your medical conditions? Or?
Well, not just medically, but this is an across-the-board situation or circumstance for me. And like Trish brought up Disney, or Eric, I'm assuming it applies to him too. I don't live with Eric, I don't know, but like find common ground for me. You know, if you like, I have this animal tattoo right here. Like if I go into a hospital and it could be just as something small, it's like a physical. If somebody sees my tattoo and go, oh, you have a cat or whatever, just find some common interest, I'm more likely to ease up as opposed to, okay, who are you and what do you want with me? But apart from that, like I said, don't talk slower or louder because it kind of feel like it belittles me. The one exception was when I broke my arm, I was in total shock and couldn't really adequately communicate. Then they went to my dad. But when I snapped out of it, they went right to me and were like, so, you know, just talking to me is, like I said, everyday person, and I love that. To me, it gives me it gives less of a vibe of I'm the patient, you're the doctor, you know? It gives me a vibe of one-on-one, like, okay, I can trust this person.
So Tom, does anybody else have another question you want to ask? There's one question that most people ask when we're doing this class, but
Yeah.
I'm going to pose it to Tom because I think it's an important one.
Yeah.
So the one that I usually ask you, Tom, when it doesn't come up is,
Yeah.
how old were you when you were diagnosed? And talk about understanding your diagnosis.
Oh, yeah.
I think this is an important question.
Yeah, that. Well, I was diagnosed when I was 7.
7 years old.
7 years old. My girlfriend has autism as well. She was 18, but I'm not here to talk about her. With me, I think 7 years old is a short answer. If you want the detailed answer, which I know you do, is I think my parents were a little more freaked out by my diagnosis than I was. They're adults, you know, normal adults. If you tell a 7-year-old kid, is my theory, if you tell a 7-year-old kid or a younger person they have autism, they'll be probably like me, scratching their head going, well, okay, I don't feel sick. What does that mean? But I'm 32. If you were to tell me today, now, like, hey, you have autism, it would kind of like fall into place. Like everything would make total sense. But I'd be kind of ticked off. Like, why? Like, you know what I mean? Like, why didn't anybody tell me this before? I waited 32 years to find this out.
And that happens, by the way.
For sure, yeah. And I mean, even before I fully understood my autism diagnosis. And I shouldn't say fully because I'm just one person. I don't think I'll ever understand how it fully impacts me or anyone else. But until I came to terms with my diagnosis, I should say, that sounds better. I grew up thinking, why do I feel so different? Why do I have that many friends? I did, but it's like, I was the odd man out. Yeah, everyone looked at me like, well, what's wrong with that guy, you know? But kind of funny, I think now the tables are kind of turned a little bit. Like, I look back on my peers going, I'm fine, what's wrong with you guys? You know? Yeah, does anyone else have any questions, comments, or concerns?
Okay, well, Tom, thank you so
Awkward
much.
silence. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome, no problem.
So what we're gonna do now is, are you gonna hang you guys going back? Because you're together, correct?
We are.
You drive together?